The Call Room Road to Records is powered by HOKA. I've had the absolute ride of a lifetime releasing these Call Room series around track season, cross-country season, and I've always been honored that HOKA comes on and sponsors them, helps me produce the best possible episodes that I can. This year's edition of the Call Room, I'm so excited about. It's leading into the 2025 edition of the HOKA Festival of Miles, held June 5th in St. Louis, Missouri. This year, the races are literally going to be bigger and better than ever. The fields that have already been announced are absolutely remarkable, and HOKA is there every step of the way. I cannot wait to talk to both the top boys and the top girl contenders as they journey to St. Louis to chase records, to chase history. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I can't wait for this podcast series leading into the historic event that is the HOKA Festival of Miles meet. If you're in the midst of your track season, I highly recommend checking out HOKA's race day products. Join HOKA's next generation of fast family this year at the HOKA Festival of Miles, the Summer Mile Club, and the Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships. Enjoy today's episode of the Call Room Road to Records, powered by HOKA.
Admit it, I didn't think I was going to be the first to break 4 in the 1600. I didn't think I was going to be first to break sub 150 in the 800. No matter what, I didn't think I was going to be the first person. I will say that. I think I could have done it, yes. I just don't think I would be first. And to think that I did that was just, hard words to describe. I will say that.
That was Quentin Nauman today on the Call Room Road to Records as we inch ever closer to St. Louis, June 5th. History is about to go down. Quentin recently announced that he's a part of this historic field after absolutely destroying his state meet in Iowa here in the SMR, where he split a 147. His open 8 was 149. He ran an 857 3200 and a 359 1600, winning all of those events. He's absolutely on fire. He's only a junior in high school, committed to run for the University of Oregon. Biggest future ahead. I named him the Prince, or dubbed him the Prince of Iowa. In this conversation, we talk about the King of Iowa, Jackson Heidish's impact that he had on him, and how Quentin is looking to carry on the torch, carry on the legacy that Jackson set 2 years ago. I love this conversation. You guys are going to get insight into what it's like training for history, training for a sub 4 mile, and so much more. If you enjoy this one, share it with a friend, a family member, a teammate, someone who you think would find value and benefit from it. Make sure you are following or subscribe to the podcast so you never miss another episode, and give us a 5-star review. It takes 3 seconds and greatly helps us out. And without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode of the Call Room Road to Records with the Prince of Iowa, Quentin Nauman. Quentin Nauman, welcome to the Call Room Road to Records. You're going to be one of the final episodes before you and a bunch of other boys line up for history at the 2025 Festival of Miles meet, held in St. Louis, Missouri every year. A few years ago, a man by the name of Jackson Heidish set the world on fire, bringing Iowa to the limelight. Since then, I have dubbed him the King of Iowa. I was texting him 2 days ago. It appears that this name might need to be passed on, or maybe we name you the Prince of Iowa. What you have done recently is utterly astounding, and I cannot wait to talk to you, to break down recent performances, and to talk about what you're going to do in St. Louis. So first off, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing excellent, man. Doing super good. We talked about Jackson a few minutes ago. Talk about that guy, the legacy that he left in the state, and ultimately now kind of carrying on the King of Iowa name.
So I kind of looked up to Jackson as a freshman. I was kind of lucky to grow up in that time period where he was a senior and I was a freshman. I can admit I was kind of like what you would call like a fanboy, I guess you could say. I got a picture with him my freshman year, and he kind of I think I ended up I left my phone on the bus, and I literally just said, "Hey, can I go get my phone on the bus, and can I go take a picture with you?" And he was nice enough to just stay there and wait for me, and I got a picture with him, and he might not even know that I got a picture with him, but it's really, really, really cool to think about that. And as a freshman, I was realizing his times, my times were a little bit faster, and I was maybe I could run something like him. And I really looked up to him and to watch him grow as an athlete. And especially, I continued to listen to the podcast and listen to his thoughts on a lot of, some deeper topics, and just the adversity he's overcome is something crazy. And I'm not going to take away his title of the King of Iowa. I think he should keep that title. It's more of a respect thing. He should keep it. And if anything, if you're going to move him up, move him like Emperor of Iowa or something, because
Hey, we'll keep him the king. We'll make you the prince of
that
Iowa.
works.
How about that?
That works because I mean he deserves it. I mean I've looked up to him and it's really cool.
What do you feel like Jackson did in terms of the legacy of the state of Iowa? I feel like before him, there were maybe a few guys who came and went and did some decent things at the national stage, but there's really no one like Jackson who was winning NXRs and placing really well at national meets and then breaking 4 minutes in the mile. Like, he really carved himself as one of one in the state, which is where the name came from. When I gave it to him, I was like, I've never seen this happen. I didn't know Iowa produced good distance runners. What do you feel like from your perspective, as a freshman when he was coming up in the sport? What did he do for the state tangibly, and what's the impact that you feel like he left?
Well, you kind of noticed that like he left a legacy leaving no matter what happened. And I mean, he broke 4 in the mile. And what I said is, at the end of his career, my dad and I were talking about it, and we were just like, maybe we should bring, like, hopefully one Iowan can do it on our home turf. Like, even if it's like a 1600, we're like, we want to be the first to do it. And either, whether it be me or somebody and someone else, it would be really cool to do it on our home turf. And I know for Jackson, I guarantee that was a goal, to do it on his home turf, and it would have been really cool. I mean, yet he still broke it first, and it's really cool that he did it. And I watched that as a freshman, just like thinking like, he can do it, I can do it. And I mean, he set up, and I've texted him like right after I broke 4 and everything. I was just like, dude, you inspired me to do a bunch of things. And I'm very happy to say like I was a freshman during that time.
What's it like carrying on the legacy now? Obviously, we'll get into that sub 4 1600 meter performance and just the ridiculous line of like meet performances that have gone on since this season, but you're clearly carrying on the legacy, and you're set to eclipse Jackson here pretty soon now that you're only a junior. What's it like to now kind of pay that forward from what Jackson did to you for the next generation of Iowan runners probably listening here today?
Well, I mean, I just want them to keep looking up to the next person. I mean, I looked up to Jackson, and I mean, just keep it an everlasting chain, I should say, like a chain event, like a, what would I call that? Kind of like a chain reaction, kind of like how one person does it, another person does it. And I actually hope someone does it better. Like they drop like a 357, like 355, maybe go under that mark. Like I really hope that the state of Iowa gets more recognition, and it's going to be, I mean, it's really cool that they're getting its recognition. I mean, ever since Jackson left. And I mean, a lot of the guys, like the guy who got second ran 4:03, like he's moving too. He's in the HOKA Festival of Miles field as well. And I mean, it's an insane class of 2026. And I mean, I guarantee another class is going to do maybe even better. Like runners just keep getting better, and just overall the community keeps getting better. I mean, we have not there's like 5 or 6 sub 4 milers coming into this HOKA Festival of Miles field. So something it's going to be, it's going to be a really deep field. So it's going to be fun to watch no matter what. So I'm just, even if I become the second sub 4 miler ever, I mean, I'm still proud of that title, and it's really cool to just watch everyone just succeed.
You mentioned class of 2026 being stacked. In this series, I think I've only spoken to class of 2025 kids, and you're kind of leading the charge for the class of 2026. Enlighten me. How stacked is this class, and do you think that we'll see something similar, if not better, than what happened to class of 2025, where we're seeing crazy cross-country matchups, we're seeing kids break 4 minutes and run 3:56 indoors? What's your kind of perspective on the capacity for greatness for your own class of 2026?
I think it's going to be really great to watch. And like I said, the class of 2026 is like, with it being stacked and everything, the class of 2026 in Iowa is really good right now. Like I said, a kid who got second ran 4:03. Another kid ran 8:56 at Drake. He's really good. That class is just going to improve and keep getting better, and we keep pushing each other. And the class of 2026, even like, it's a junior class, it's still young, and it's still going to be good at the end of the day. And I feel like we might see more sub 4 milers in that class than we do in any other class. Who knows? Because it's still still going on, and we're still juniors, and we still got a lot of time to develop. And I'm just excited to see how all that progresses.
Speaking of that time to develop, I'm going to be so honest. I didn't know your name a year ago to the day. Where do you feel like you came from? And what was the moment that you feel like what was your coming out party to the world?
So like coming up party to the world, I feel like was kind of my sophomore year track season where I kind of had like a bunch of standout performances. I ran 8:54.11 in the like the 3200, and then I went like 4:12.80. Like I won all four of my titles that I did this year. Just like the times were still fast, but not the times that I had, now. And just, the development of coming up to that, I think that those 3,200 times are all those times that I've had in my sophomore year really kind of put me up on the roof and kind of, made me kind of like enjoy the process and push myself to continue to do the process. I mean, winning 4 state track titles was a big confidence booster going into the cross country season. And then the cross country season, I ended up winning the cross country title, being the second under 15 on the Fort Dodge course. Like that course it's not an easy course, but it's a tough course. There's some hills, and Ian Heidish was the first to break 15 on that course, like surprisingly. So to continue this process and really enjoy the process, I mean, it's going to be a fun time and a insane way to continue.
Obviously very accomplished a year ago, but the steps you've taken this year are kind of out of this world and maybe expected to some extent. But the difference between like 4:12 and 3:59 it's a massive jump. Not getting ahead of ourselves too much because I still want to stay rooted in the present moment. Talk about Festival of Miles. You still have a lot left your junior year, but I mean, you're crazy, man. A lot's happened in a year and you're already pretty darn fast. What's kind of your thought and perspective on, you have a big opportunity here to really go down in history as one of the greats, regardless of state in America, high school distance running?
It's kind of a lot to think about. It's really insane. I mean, just at state track when I ran under 150 and then I went under 4 in the 16, like to do those all in the same day in the same meet, like it was just hard for me to process. And it's still, I mean, me just sitting here thinking about like I could be really, really great at the end of the year, like the end of my career, like be known around not just Iowa, but around the country. And that's just a really insane thought in my head. And I mean, I don't know if you saw the clip of my face when I broke 4, but like it was insanity. And I didn't think that was possible, especially with the whole weekend and everything. So I was just, I think that would be an insane way to say it, but like, I'm very confident I could end up being one of those guys. And it's just really cool and mind boggling to think about.
Let's talk about this state meet, or let's go back to Drake Relays, because that's kind of, I feel like, where we saw a glimpse of what was going to happen at the state meet. And I think that was the first time I heard your name, and I think I shot you a DM and I talked to Jackson about you, and I was like, who is this kid? This is insane. Take people through that Drake Relays performance and also give some context too. And I'm sure people who have listened to my conversations with Jackson remember, but like Drake Relays is a big deal for an Iowa kid. It's like kind of the state meet before the state meet.
Yeah. Drake Relays is a very, very big deal because it's not just your state class either. It's all 4 of the classes. So to win one Drake title is a big deal in its own. And when I won 3, I mean, it was just insane because I went from my sophomore year, I won the 800, and the insanity in my head of just like winning 1 title was just going crazy. And then when I won 3, like just this year, I was still on a high. And I mean, to go 8:52 and I ended up closing in 55 with the guys, I mean, that was kind of crazy. And then the 800, I kind of defended the title, but I didn't really run necessarily a PR, but I still held on to it. And then the 1600 to go 4:05, breaking our all-time record. Our all-time record was set in, I think, 2021 or like 2020. So to break that all-time record, and, again, funny thing, that was broken. My all-time record was broken a week later by someone else. So it's really insane to think about. Like Drake was just insanity. I really loved that race and loved the entire meet in general. And just to watch the pros and go to a meet is a privilege in its own.
What does your training look like, and how do you train and prepare to do like 3, 4 events in one weekend? Because there's a difference between just winning them all, but you're running very fast through every single performance, which indicates some level of crazy training. So what does your training look like? How do you prepare yourself for these massive weekend efforts?
Well, so far my training's been like upwards of probably like 45 miles a week that I peak at, I should say. And then I will taper down for the state meet actually. And I think I think going into my state meet, I probably had like, shoot, what, that week going into Thursday, I probably had like 16 miles logged, which that isn't an absurd number at all. And I mean, we ride the taper. My coach and I always say, like, because we actually for a bit, we still had a chance to win a team state title. So we were still trying to go for it. And they knew, like, a 40-point weekend would definitely help. And we ended up getting fifth. So it was kind of heartbreaking. But at the same time, like, it's how it goes. And we just move on. And just me thinking about how my training went, my coach is something else. And she's the one in charge of everything. She ends up teaching kinesiology down at a college, like a D3 college. So to really learn from her, and I put a lot of faith into her, and she's been my coach for a while, and she's something crazy. Like, I mean it. She's top like 12% Iron Man in the nation. So it's really fun to follow her, and her training's been the key to my success. I will say that.
For you, are you doing 2 workouts a week, a long run? When you have a Thursday meet, are you doing a workout earlier in the week? How do you split up workouts with these race efforts?
So I have 2 workouts a week, but if I have a meet, it would be like 1 workout a week, because those meets kind of count as a workout to me, because you're running as hard as you can to try to hit a good time, stuff like that. And then I do a long run, usually on the weekends, like Saturday or Sunday, depending on how, my training lines up. I think when I hit 45, like, I have like a 13-mile long run. So like a lot of it will come from that. A good 25% of my mileage will come from that long run. And usually I'll start at like very high, like 750 to 8 flats, and then work my way down to maybe 7 flats, 630s, however I feel for that long run. That long run is mostly just for me to build that endurance, to have it for the 2 mile and that 800 to go in. So, I mean, it's a pretty nice schedule, and it's very, very routine. I mean, especially if you get some sleep with it, it's something crazy.
Would you say you're more of like a strength guy, speed guy? What do you feel like your best event is? And was there a workout you did leading into the state meet that you felt like gave you the confidence that you could run the times you ultimately ended up running?
I mean, I felt like my race that was the best before that was my 800, but now I kind of have to reevaluate and say it's probably my 1600 or mile. But the kind of I'm more of a, like, I'd say more of an interval guy, like the speed. I love the speed. I like my kick. I will say that I love a sit and kick race. If it comes down to it, I like to be able to slam the last 200, maybe 300 of the race. And the kick is probably my favorite race. And if a kid allows it to come down to a kick, I usually try to pat, like, sit on their back, sit on their shoulder, and then come around the corner with 200 so I can take the inside lane. And yeah, just really speed work. And I do some lifting as well in my training. So I do like lift 3 times a week. Our strength program down at my high school has proven to be really good at explosiveness. And I kind of, like, as a distance runner, we kind of look at that as like an underrated thing. And I mean, to have a kick at the end of the race is the main thing that I usually take pride in. And I really take pride in my range as well. So it's pretty fun to be able to kick at the end of a race, I will say.
Yeah. Do you feel like your speed and kick, obviously you're going to have to run to train and know what it feels like to run or kick, but I'm curious, like, I think back in high school, I did not strength train enough, and I almost viewed it as like it would be a detriment to my running because I'd be like more sore. the more I have podcasts with people, the more I hear about really high level athletes training, the more I'm like, oh, I actually think strength training is like a way underutilized thing. And a lot of people who have the best kick say that they strength train. So for you, obviously, you're doing hard workouts. I'm sure that kind of develops into the kick. But do you feel like strength training has had a massive role in your just raw speed, raw talent?
Well, like I said, the strength and conditioning program down at our high school, it shouldn't be even called strength and conditioning because we barely do any conditioning. It's more like strength and explosiveness. And as a distance runner, that's great because like we don't get enough explosive work in our normal distance running. Like our strides will count as explosive work. Our workouts definitely explosive, but like to add on the lifting and all the plyometrics or something small like that, like really helps in the long run. Coming down to like going into my final 200, 300. I mean, it's something that I need to learn. And it's a lot of dynamics too, like just learning how to do the movement. And, I feel like I've learned more, and I will admit openly, like we have a lifting program in the summer as well. And I'll go to that, and I'll usually go to like the 6:30 lift with all the football players because if I'm doing something wrong, they're not scared to tell me. And I don't want to do something wrong. I want to do something right. And I want to do it at my full capacity. And to watch them like watch me lift or like, judge me on what I'm lifting, like that's what I want. I want someone to tell me that I'm doing something wrong, because if I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to do it right. And then I'm going to come out as a better runner. So it's really cool to think about how lifting has been a big role into my running.
Totally, man. That's super fascinating. Thank you for sharing. Speaking of the state meet that we keep teasing, so some of the splits for the people out there, you ran the SMR, the 800, the 1600, and the 3200. You won all four, if I'm not mistaken. And then the SMR, you split 147.50. The 800, you go 149.41. The 16, you go 359.60. And the cherry on top, the 3200, you go 857.97. Which of these performances shocked you the most, and how did you keep the momentum going when there really wasn't a bad performance here? And I think it could have been easy to rest on your laurels and not be sharp for the next one.
I gotta say, so the sprint med down here is 2248, but like we call it the D med down here. Okay. And I think that has to be my most shocking event because I didn't think I ran 147. Like that's near, like, again, I look up to this kid. That's near Cooper Luchtenhaus speed. Like I look up to him. Like, I mean, he was my roommate at Nike Indoor Nationals, and it was just amazing to think like, holy cow, I was near his time. And especially the sprint med, like impressed me the most, like the shock on my face of just realization when my announcer, Mike J, screamed like, he screamed our time like was 324 was our overall time, but then he just said, how about this 147? I was just like, what? I was just completely shocked. Like I didn't think I ran under 150, and to break it by like 3 seconds was just mind boggling to me, because it's just like, just geez, because a lot of the guys looked like, my cousin was on that relay, and you can see like he's about to walk back on the infield, and he snaps his head back when he hears 147. He's like, what? So it was just like really insane to run that 147. And that the mile definitely did shock me as well. Like 1600 really shocked me as well. And to run the sub 4 was also just shocking right after the 149 open 8. Again, the open 8, I think I definitely was a little bit shocked, but I did the little Caitlin Clark shrug off of it. So it was really, really fun to run the sub 150 that I knew I could do. I had the confidence going into that, but I didn't think sub 4 was in the books at all. Like I was shocked to hear the amount of fans that ended up screaming, because it was a loud stadium. Like the atmosphere was something different in that stadium at that time. And once I went with 200 to go, I couldn't hear the announcer anymore. Like I usually can hear the announcer. I couldn't hear him. Like it was just, I felt deaf. It was like a football stadium. Like someone scored a touchdown. It was just loud.
What do you feel? I mean, you look at these performances and you look at, I don't have this on hand, but like the times you ran them, the little recovery in between each. This is debatably the greatest state meet performance I've ever seen, at least in my time era. you mentioned that kind of shock after hearing the 147. Like, what's your emotion and reflection when you're cooling down from the 3200 and just being like, wow, I just did that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just after the 32, it was just like focus on the next thing. And I think just really reflecting after my all my races in general, it was just a lot to think about, like just going through it. I mean, I I had to turn my phone on do not disturb. Like it was just going off, and I just had to sit down, reflect, and really think about what I actually did. And what I did Sunday, I ended up going to work, and that's something that I like to do. It kind of keeps me humble, kind of keeps me away from people for a bit, because the most people I work with, like they know they're good. Like what I'm doing is great. Some people do know some of the times. Some people understand that. Some people don't, and they just still say congrats. And it's something to keep me level headed, and I really enjoy that. And come to think about it, like to think what I did was insane. I'll admit it. I didn't think I was going to be the first to break 4 in the 1600. I didn't think I was going to be first to break sub 150 in the 800. No matter what, I didn't think I was going to be the first person. I will say that. I think I could have done it. Yes. I just don't think I would be first. And to think that I did that was just, I mean, hard words to describe. I will say that.
The governor of Iowa, I know, reached out to you, congratulated you. So if it got my attention, it got the governor's attention. Crazy. Like, what was that moment like? Transcends the sport.
I was in my my friend's room. Actually, I was going to go disc golfing with him, and I was there, and I got a Snapchat sent from my friend, and I found it later on, but the governor said congrats to me, and I was just like, what? I was like, since when? Like, no offense, but like, I didn't think she paid attention to like track. And it was just like really cool to think about, like something big from my state, like even if it's like a politician or a celebrity or something like that, like that's just insane to think about. Like I ended up screaming in his room when she said my name, and I was just like, what? I'm just a small town kid from Iowa. So just thinking about that is just crazy. Like that people like you are even talking to me is really cool. Like it's just insane.
What would you say to someone who was in the position you were 2 years ago? Because 2 years ago, you couldn't fathom winning 4 events at the state meet, going 147, 149, 259, 857. You couldn't fathom the governor reaching out. You probably couldn't fathom doing the podcast that you used to listen to Jackson on. Like, what would you say to that person who's in the mud, in the dirt, but all the work that they're putting in now is ultimately what's going to make them who they are going to be one day? Because as good as your training has been this season, like the training you did as a freshman, sophomore, like that is ultimately the body of work that has made you who you are. So what would you say to someone who's in the trenches, doesn't have the recognition yet, but they got to keep going to get there?
So I would just say stay humble and stay consistent. Kind of like a cliche answer, but it's kind of true. Like my freshman year, I actually wasn't even the fastest kid on my cross country team. The fastest kid is now like the lead runner for Wartburg right now, like a D3 school. And he was running like 80-mile weeks going into it. Like I looked at that when I was running like my 30-mile weeks, just like, geez, like he's putting more work than I am right now. And he's been a humble guy to me like ever since. And I'm running with him. Actually, I think I'm running with him at like 115 today, but like he's a guy I looked up to, and he doesn't like to take credit. Obviously he's not going to take credit. Like that's just how he is as a person. But like, I give him a lot of credit for how I am work ethic wise. I mean, to watch a kid go 80-mile weeks, then he got third in state cross country. Like I looked at that, like you're insane. Like going 80-mile weeks, I couldn't fathom thinking about going 80-mile weeks. Like having to do a run in the morning, run in the afternoon, and then you have school as well. Like I don't know how you juggle all that.
Quentin, I know you have one thing on your mind, and that's the HOKA Festival of Miles. You seem like a guy who does something, moves on. I know that 4-minute barrier is on your mind for the mile, not the 16. Mm-hmm. You checked that box. What are your thoughts, reflections? The fitness is there, and I feel like you look at the list and you look at the field, and you're the dark horse. What do you feel like you can do on June 5th? at the St. Louis University High School?
I feel like I could actually run very, very well. I mean, to run sub 4, and I had 3 events in my legs prior to that, and prior to those races aren't all jokes because again, like I had to try to be the kid that ended up breaking the state meet records as well. Like I had to actually push myself in all those races. So I feel like a fresh mile might be a little different. I mean, I know I have the kick to continue to go on, and I mean, I definitely think that sub 4 minute barrier in the mile would sound cooler to say, like, hey, I broke 4 in the mile instead of saying, hey, I broke 4 in the 1600. Like, lot less to say, I guess. But yeah, the HOKA Festival of Miles, I looked at that race and that field, and some of those guys I've watched race for a while now, and it's going to be a fun race. I'm going to love it, and I feel like it's also would be really cool to say it would be probably one of the deepest fields since 2023 in a single mile.
Deepest field ever. I'll correct you. Whoever wins this, they just won the greatest mile race of all time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, 2023 was a deep class too. Like, wasn't there like 4 or 5 under it?
4 under, but going in, there were 2 people who had broken it. This year, I want to say there are, let me think, Josiah, Taven, Tommy.
Gordon.
There are 5. There are 5 guys entered who have already broken 4. So, and if you include a 16, 6.
6, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, something.
Whoever wins this will be the greatest.
Yeah, that's just insane. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised there's a U.S. high school national record on the line, too. Like, it's going to be an insane race, and no matter what, HOKA always lines up with great conditions, so I'm excited. It's also in St. Louis, so I got to say I'm a big Cardinals fan, so this is going to be fun to have it at St. Louis.
Big Midwest guy. I love it. Yeah, speaking on that aspect of being the dark horse, I feel like people have only recently started to share a name, and even on race day, I think guys like Josiah or maybe even Corbin and TJ, because they just broke 4, are going to be like more talked about. Do you relish in the opportunity to kind of be that silent guy who's been talked about, but then it'll probably be nice to like come back down to earth, not necessarily feel the pressure because other guys are going to be talked about. Obviously, you'll still be talked about, but how do you feel about like kind of being the dark horse and the guy that, I'll say it, I think you go like 354. It's crazy. You probably know that too because of the performances over the weekend and the body of work that you've done.
I kind of like a dark horse type stance, but I like it. I mean, I like being the underdog. I was the underdog in my 800 my sophomore year, and I mean, I just have no pressure then. I mean, just relax, and I don't need to be the one that someone needs to bet on to win. And I mean, being the dark horse is fun. I will say that. I mean, coming out of nowhere in any race is, shocking people's expectations. It's really fun to do. And some of those guys just, some of their states weren't even known for running. And Iowa has been, ever since Heidish, like he was the epitome of what you would call a great Iowa runner, like one of the best to ever do it in Iowa. And I want to add on to his legacy, add on to Iowa's legacy, and make Iowa proud. That's kind of what I wanted to do. Like, I've gotten told that by one of my uncles. So it's just like, I want to really make Iowa proud and my state proud. I mean, I love this state, I will say. And I know I'm going to be leaving here in a year and a half to go to college. So it's going to be got to really enjoy the moment that I have right now.
You haven't raced too many of these top guys too often. How excited are you to line up, as I said, in my opinion, in the deepest high school boys mile field of all time, with a shot at history, both from a winning a perspective, also a perspective of the time that you can run, as well as helping to push other guys underneath. I'm not even going to say the barriers. I think there's a lot for grabs here.
I'm just ready for it. I mean, I'm so ready for HOKA. I've been waiting for this. I've been excited. After like 30 minutes, I got, because me and my coach helped, like she kind of signed me up because I was asking about it. And 30 minutes later, we got an email back just saying, congrats, you're in. And I was just like, great. So I'm ready to go. I've been waiting for this for a while now. And I've ran at HOKA actually my sophomore year. I was an 800 runner. So I got like 5th, and I was supposed to get like 7th or 8th. So, I mean, I'm ready to, put away some of the stereotypes for Iowa and just get ready. I mean, this is the Midwest, so they're coming down to my area, so it's gonna be pretty fun.
Quentin, what would you say to someone out there listening? Why should they tune in June 5th?
Hey, you're gonna watch some history, I will say. I mean, it's going to be a deep field, and it's going to be a fun race, regardless of what happens to if we break 4 or not. Like, I mean, I bet, I can guarantee we're going to break 4, but your guys are going to be shocked on how the entire race is going to play out, and who's going to take the pace, who's going to take the charge, and who's going to end up coming out on top. Like, it's going to be whoever has their day. It's going to be an awesome race for everybody to watch.
Quentin, final serious question for you. For those who have listened to this conversation, what's the final takeaway message for them?
Keep working, be consistent, and really just stay humble throughout the entire process.
Quentin, final question. I'm sure you're expecting it. You've listened to the podcast before that I ask every guest on every single podcast. If you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
Okay, so he always says, and he always makes fun of people for making bad scrambled eggs. So I want to take the challenge and try to make him the best dang scrambled eggs that he ate. So I'm gonna try to beat him in trying to make scrambled eggs, and hopefully he doesn't judge them.
I love it. Quentin, thank you so much for the time, man. Honestly, I'm inspired, even though I'm like kind of out of the competitive sport now. I know that back in the day, I would have looked up to a guy like you, and it's always cool as a fellow Midwesterner to see a kid come from like one of these smaller states that they don't have as many people to look up to. They don't have as many resources, but they get the job done regardless. And I can't wait to see what you do next week. June 5th, Festival of Miles. I'll be there. I'll be cheering you on. And yeah, history is going to go down, and I'm excited to see your name a part of it.
All right. Thank you.